Okay, guys, so I figured.
The new Red Bull Zero.
Oh, I haven't been really able to make another video because we got new phones and my sister got this one, so I'm sorry, I'm sick, I have the flu. But today I thought we'd react to a Dear Diary person, so let's see. Okay, so let's do, I googled my teacher.
I know that I'll probably be judged and criticized for what I did to my teacher, but I simply couldn't forget how much he humiliated me. He deserved it, and I have no regrets whatsoever. So, a while ago I had a very important exam. I stepped into an exam hall, got seated, and waited for it to start. Before the papers were given out, I suddenly remembered that my pen might be out of ink. I checked and totally freaked out. It was. I knew that I needed permission to change the pen to another one.
Oh no, he lost the ink in his pen. What's he gonna do? Maybe his teacher will say no. Who knows? Give him the title of the video. And what he said at the beginning. So.
And that's when all the mess began. So I raised my hand and got the attention of the nearest exam supervisor. This was a teacher who knew me. I immediately noticed that he looked at me with a grin on his face since he didn't like me at all. I took one of his classes where I often played games or slept, but I've never caused any problems and never been rude to him. He had tried to humiliate me a few times by asking me questions when I wasn't paying attention, but I managed to answer them correctly. Anyways, during the exam I asked him, "Can I borrow a pen?" He replied with a slight grin on his face, "You come to an examination without a pen? Why did you bother to come at all?" I wasn't in the
Well, sorry, I have to pause it again, but that is just one mean teacher.
Mood for jokes. I tried to explain to him the situation, but he continued to mess with me. "Whose fault is it you forgot? My fault? Why don't you forget to take the exam as well?" There were hundreds of people in that dead silent exam hall, and all of them were staring at me. So I asked him again, but his only reply was, "No, it's your own fault you were careless. You're so smart, right? Take the exam without a pen." Are you kidding me? It was my last and the most important paper, and there was this guy showing everyone how helpless I am while he enjoys it. I looked at him and he just widened his smirk. Luckily, I didn't snap. I ignored him, raised my hand, and waved at the next nearest exam supervisor who allowed me to borrow a pen. But with all the rage coursing through me, it was really hard to focus. Immediately after my exams, I had one clear goal in mind, to teach him a lesson for what he did to me. So I went to speak to the dean of the faculty.
Here comes the good part, the juicy part.
He immediately organized a meeting with this teacher, and guess what? He just spoke about how I was a troubling and careless student, that he just wanted to teach me a lesson and would have let me borrow a pen later on. The dean sided with him and no further action was taken. So holidays began and I devoted extraordinary effort into finding a way to defeat that man. I went through his Facebook, years of it, thousands of photos and comments. I found nothing that would get him into trouble. Then I Googled his phone numbers and emails, pages upon pages of boring stuff. I was asking myself how such an awful person could live such a perfectly innocent life. Hours of scrolling through web pages and nothing. I was desperate. But then came one mundane-looking forum post with his personal email. I was just about to call it quits as I clicked on it. As I read the context of that forum post, fire from the depths of hell burned in my eyes and I had a loud, evil laugh. It was a forum to discuss and advertise some really dirty stuff. Well, how to put it into words? Apparently he was using the services of the oldest profession, and he was really active there. But anyone could have posted his email, so my odds weren't good. But, well, I immediately contacted our local news website. Its staff was really interested in the possibility to expose the teacher and agreed to meet with me. But they had concerns about the legitimacy of the teacher's ties to that user account. So I told them of a plan to bait him into using his mobile number to identify himself as the owner of that account.
Who knew revenge could be so cruel?
We cooperated and implemented the plan. From an anonymous number, we wrote him a message asking to confirm his identity, otherwise he wouldn't be able to use his account anymore. He messaged us that he was the owner of the username from that forum. That was it. He fell into our trap. Soon, the news came out. Since I asked the website staff to keep me anonymous, nobody knew who hit him. The story spread around. It had his name, face, and screenshots of his user account reviews, and the SMS messages tying him to it. Many students also came out speaking against his teaching ethics. He became a hot topic for everyone to gossip about, including the teachers. And by the time the new semester began, he was gone like the wind. I know what everyone might think, that I could have let go of what happened that day in the exam hall, been the bigger man, and so on. But I just simply couldn't let it go. And yes, I admit, it felt so good. But there was one last thing I had to do, to text him. Dear teacher, I understand now the importance of the lesson you are trying to teach me. If only you heeded your own words. It's your own fault for being careless. I never got a reply. I guess he eventually understood that I gave him a taste of his own medicine.
That kid's mean. Well, let's do something different. So let's see. I added female pills to my dad's food. I have rare diseases. I dated 8 sugar daddies to survive. I was born in prison, but I became... Hold on. I think we should do that.
I'd like you to hold your breath during this message. That's the way I used to feel, because a nearby coal plant made breathing almost impossible. Mike Bloomberg helped close hundreds of polluting plants, including the one right here.
This election is about saving the planet. Hello, everybody. My name's Bobby, and I'm an 18-year-old millionaire. But even though I have a big house and a family right now, my life started behind bars. But what's even crazier is the way in which I became a millionaire. My mom was an addict, and she was sentenced for 3 years for robbing a jewelry store. 4 months into serving her sentence, I was born. Even though I don't remember much about it, the idea of being born in prison always haunted me. I felt like I was destined to have this life, to repeat my parents' mistake. Maybe because of this mindset, I did repeat them. I repeated them until I reached rock bottom. It all started in foster home. My mom...
Hey, before I get onto this anymore, it might be one of these videos where they confess to one of their crimes. So,
not being able to care for me gave me up to this overcrowded foster home. A couple of times I got close to being adopted, but something would always come up. The family would change their mind. They'd pick another kid. I felt like I was being cursed, so I gave up hope. I decided that I gotta take care of myself. I was 14 to 15 when I got involved with some street gangs. I'm not proud of it, but I think in some ways, I was searching for somebody that I could call family. In one of our parties, I met a girl. This wonderful woman that would eventually turn my life around. Her name was Michelle. She was 20 at the time. She was beautiful and funny, and we fell in love instantly. Both of us were struggling with addiction.
wait, so, not to be rude or anything to him, but he was 14 to going on 15, and he got together with this 20-year-old. But the world can be crazy sometimes, but who's to judge that?
It felt like it was a battle we were both losing, but at least we had each other. We were squatting in this old apartment building when I got the news of my lifetime. That day, I was lying on an old mattress when I heard her screaming in the bathroom. I ran to the door, knocking on it like crazy and saying, "What happened, love?" She opened the door, tears running down her face. I looked down, and my heart dropped. She was holding a pregnancy test. It was positive. We were sitting on this
Wait. Maybe he's like 15 now? She's 20 or 21? Oops, sorry.
Old stained mattress together, looking around the flat. Some guys were shouting in another room, arguing about some shady deal. We looked at each other and said, we have to get our shit together. We have to get out of here. I never had a proper family. I had no idea how to be a father or a husband.
Well, you had no idea, but so far you're doing pretty good. I have faith in you.
I didn't have a legit job experience, but I knew that I'll do whatever it takes to bring up this child.
Like I said,
The next 5 months were really difficult. I was searching for a job. Any job, really. I was cleaning other people's houses. I was doing plumbing just to get enough for our small apartment rent. We were getting by, but barely, when another tragedy struck. It was late evening. I just got back from work. I was dirty, sweaty, tired. That's when it hit me. It wasn't something. It was someone. It was Michelle. She was unconscious, barely breathing. I knew that calling in an emergency will cost me a lot, but I didn't care. I called 911, and we got to the hospital. Everything after that was chaos. At the moment, it felt like everything was moving in slow motion. I was in the waiting room, looking around, seeing blood and tears everywhere. The doctor came up to me, trying to console me. He put his hand on my back. I could barely understand what he was talking about. Finally, I heard him say, she passed away.
That is so
After these
sad.
words, I just blacked out.
That is so sad. His pregnant girlfriend passed away. That is so sad. They've been in love for a while now, probably. Yeah, that's very sad.
Next thing I remember, I'm laying in my flat, in bed, with a newborn baby in my arms. She starts crying, and the only thought that comes to mind is that I'm not ready. I'm not ready to be a father at 16. I cannot do this alone without Michelle. But then, I looked at the baby's eyes. They were blue, big and beautiful, so naive and innocent. I couldn't describe the love I felt for her, or the motivation she gave me to continue this fight. And just a couple years later, she became the inspiration for a business that made me into a millionaire. As I didn't have a lot of money, I usually made a lot of things myself. But there was one thing my daughter, Grace, loved more than anything. This really soft pillow I made her. I made it from foam, and it would hold its shape for a long time. She wouldn't go to sleep without it. It made her feel safe and comfortable. And one night,
Well, sorry to pause it there, but that's good. She has a security pillow.
I woke up from this strange dream where I saw thousands of children sleeping in their beds with these pillows. I had a hunch that this is something I should do.
Sorry.
I put up a working station in the corner of the room, and I started getting ready for the Christmas fair. I sewed dozens of pillows and set up a kiosk there, and I couldn't believe my luck. I sold out in a day. There were a couple of people who asked me for a number to contact, and after a week, I got a call to make more of them. That's when I felt that this is my destiny. I started a business and sewed them day and night. I decided that there are a lot of kids from rough neighborhoods like me who need job experience, so I hired them. I was taking off. People were reaching out and asking for more. I made this strange infomercial to help the word spread, and the next thing I know, I'm seeing my face in a newspaper. I hear people talking about it, approaching me about a job. 2 years went by, and now the company has about 1,500 employees.
Well, I'm sure his girlfriend would be very pleased and proud of him.
And I've sold over 30 million pillows. I finally moved out of that flat with my daughter, Grace. I'm able to provide her with the best education and with all the possibilities that I never had. And I keep employing kids that need help to stand up on their feet. Grace is the greatest love of my life. She was an inspiration for my business, and she inspires me to be better every day. I guess if you find something to live for, you can overcome anything.
Did you like this story? Don't forget to like.
I think that daughter is just amazing. Okay.
Whether you chase the thrill, savor every flavor. Hey, I'm Gabrielle, and I want to tell you about a mysterious baby I found on my doorstep. Okay, so I never wanted to get married and have babies. I mean, kids are a nightmare, right? You become a mom and your life's over. No more partying and having fun. It's all diapers and bottles. All that changed one night. I'd been out clubbing, so I didn't get home until late. I tripped over something on my doorstep. It made a strange noise, and I thought someone had left a basket of kittens for me. But then, I looked closer, and I realized someone had put a baby on my doorstep. I took it into my apartment and found a note tucked into the Moses basket. It said, "This is your baby. You got me pregnant, and I can't afford to look after her, so she's your responsibility now."
Well, I gotta leave it here. I have to take the dog out. Leave a like if you want. I just want one like and I'll do another video on this. Just one like, that's all I'm asking for. And peace.